coordinator over at Pleasant Valley High School. I'm here with my weekend is all book. I love reading, so most of the coffee cups you're going to see me with are having to do something with coffee, and today it's black coffee with a lot of cream, but I love all kinds of coffee.
Awesome, and I'm Mrs. Hoyt, and I'm the Future Ready Coach at Bettendorf High School. So I get to help students with planning for whatever is next for each one of their paths. And I am drinking a toasted marshmallow latte, and one of my friends lent me this beautiful mug, so that's what I'm using today. So what are we doing with coffee and careers? That's what we're talking about. We're going to come to each month with different information about what careers you could be exploring, what you should be doing right now while you're in school. We'll share some fun info about the coffee that we're drinking each month too, just to have some fun with you. We know that right now with the pandemic, we all are trying to have some fun virtually, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So we just want to be fun and laid back, share some really great information with you. But we want you to know that this information is very general because each person is taking a different path. So we're just trying to start the conversation with each student, and then we're putting it on each of you to make that next step to come talk to us, talk to a teacher. There's lots of different people around that can help you, and we'll get to that later. But that's what we're here to do, and we hope you have some fun with us. One of the things that we did to get started was we asked all of our students from both PV and Bettendorf to help us with what questions you all had through a survey. So we're going to keep doing that each month, but this first month was about college search and how do I prepare for college before I'm searching for college, and then about that first job, so whether that's a part-time job while you're in high school or that first job right after you finish your post-secondary training. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Our first question from one of our students is, how do you find a job that is fun and pays well? So Mrs. Johnson, you want to help us with that?
Okay, you bet. So your first job, or that first job right out of your post-secondary, is all about the work experience. You want to build documentable, and what I mean by that is you're going to have something that either someone, a supervisor, a boss, is going to be able to tell another prospective employer about you, or you're going to have something in writing that you can show that prospective employer on there. And you want to go ahead and look at careers that can provide that. So for your career that you're really dreaming about, it may not be fun to start with. That's when you're going to look at that life balance on there. And what's going to be fun outside of the workday might be what gets you through the workday in those first entry-level jobs.
We've had a lot of students that have asked us before about what if I just want that money, or what if I just want to have fun? And we think that you should find that balance between the two. Mrs. Johnson always reminds me to remind students that you can always have a hobby, that you're doing something outside of work. If you really, really want to do something but you need more money, you can still have that hobby to have something fun to do, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. Awesome.
And so one of the other things to talk about is that when you have that work and life balance on there, you may bring in some of those passions and those hobbies that you're looking at into those careers, and that will help you get through it. But sometimes there's things you don't like. No, I shouldn't say that. Every job has things you're not going to like about it on there. Is that job going to be something where those things are, where it's too much and it makes the job where it's a drudge rather than just an okay job, or even something that you're going to love? And you may find surprising that you didn't think you were going to like a job and you really fall in love with it. That's what happened with my career.
Oh, totally. Awesome.
Okay. And so the second question, are there classes I should take in high school, and how important is it to get good grades in those classes?
Wonderful. So there are definitely classes that you should be taking in your high school to explore what your future could look like. All of our Pleasant Valley and Bettendorf students are very fortunate to be in the schools that they're in, because we have made sure in each school that you have classes in business and family and consumer science, manufacturing, I can't even think of the list. Computers,
engineering.
The list goes on and on. You all have so many opportunities to explore what your future could look like. And so we would encourage you to make sure that you are investigating what options are out there and taking an introductory class. And maybe you've never thought about engineering before, but you take one introductory level class and you either learn you love it or it's not for you. But the rule is, even if you don't love it, you need to get a good grade in it,
Exactly.
because those grades are going to add up to your GPA, your grade point average, and that's what colleges are going to be looking at when they decide if they're going to accept you into their school or not. So I need you to make sure that even if you don't love a class,
Right.
be it a career and technical education class like the ones we listed, or maybe it's a history or an English or a math, no matter what the class is, you need to be putting your best foot forward, because whether it's an employer that wants to see what your grade point average was because they're going to use that to decide if they're employing you, or if it's a college that's going to admit you, people are going to be looking at that GPA, and you want to make sure that it's where you want it to be.
Exactly. And one of the things you can do is take those jobs or those classes that you don't like and talk to those about your college experience, your employer, and say, look, I really didn't like my math class, but I knew that I needed that information, and so I went and worked as hard as I could. I even went and got a tutor so that I could understand it better, just so that I could have that grade and not let it drop.
Totally. All right, so our next question up for Mrs. Johnson is, how do you know what career is right for you?
Okay, so it is really a three-part question on there, or answer. You want to make sure that the job includes some of your interest. It has your skills that you're good at, and then also it has the amount of effort you want to put into it. So you need all of those to be balanced in order for it to be the right job for you. You can find out some of those things, the skills. You can talk to your teachers. What are you good at in classes? What comes easy to you? You can then also look at Zello and Virtual Job Shadow. They have some personality quizzes, interest levels. Take those and take them seriously. I know that we do them often enough that maybe you're taking it and you're just clicking the boxes on there. But you want to take it seriously so you can get some ideas for those careers, because that's how you're going to know those. And they have to balance. If I wanted to be a basketball player, I was too short and I didn't have those skills, so that wasn't going to work out there. So make sure that it's all balanced and that you want to work hard enough in that job, whatever it might be.
I would have loved to see you as a basketball player, Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
Wonderful. So if you heard some of those things that Ms. Johnson was talking about, like Zello at Pleasant Valley or Virtual Job Shadow over at Bettendorf, or any of those interest exams, and you're like, how do I take these assessments so that I know what my interests are and how they align with careers, come find us and we're going to get you to those. That's what our job is.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Okay, and Ms. Hoyt, what are the differences in post-secondary options?
This is my favorite question. I am so glad that someone asked this question, because I love talking with students about what all of their options are after graduating from high school. Our job in the career field in your high school is not to get you to go where we want you to go.
Exactly.
We might know that based on your skill set and based on your abilities, we might have some idea of where you would thrive, but it's not our job to get you where we want you to be. It's our job to help you get to wherever your goal is. So whether that's to a four-year college or university, or maybe you want to head to a community college to do a program to transfer or to enter right into the workforce. Maybe you want to head to like a trade or a technical school, military, straight to the workforce, an apprenticeship. There are a lot of options, and we're here to help you navigate whatever that is for you. So you need to know what that is, and you need to do some exploring yourself to see what is best for you. You can do that exploring through taking the different assessments in Virtual Job Shadow or in Zello, or you could do it by sitting down and having a conversation with us or with your counselor. There's a lot of ways that you can start that conversation, but I just want to make sure that you are planning for your future and not for your friends or not for your parents, but for what is best for you. We also just wanted to point out the difference between in-state and out-of-state schools if you are considering a university. So usually students consider in-state within Iowa to be their cheapest option when looking at a university. Colleges, especially private colleges, tend to sometimes be a little more expensive even in-state, but our bigger universities tend to be the cheaper options. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't look out of state, because a lot of our bordering states, so Illinois, Wisconsin, Missouri, have agreements with Iowa students that they will give them in-state tuition because they're bordering. So it's kind of a nice deal for you. They get more students, so you get a better price. So don't close off the door to looking at out of state schools. There you go, out of state schools, just because of the price. We can help you navigate that, or your counselors can help you navigate what that would look like so that you're not breaking the bank to get an education.
Exactly.
Mrs. Johnson, we have covered a lot, but what I'm hoping is that you can share with students what they should be doing right now while they are in high school.
Sure. So the biggest thing, explore. Take classes, join a club, volunteer, talk with your family and friends about what they did to get started. How did they figure out this process? Because they've been through it before. As much as we might hate hearing from our parents and all of those teachers and everybody, we hear that enough from them. Ask them, see what they say. Experiences. Go on a job shadow, on an informational interview. The college and military visits, we're doing those virtually now,
Yep.
so you can do that. Do the extracurricular activities, go on a tour. John Deere offers those, so we have all kinds of different opportunities that way. Take the appropriate test. You want to make sure if you're going to college, you're taking that ACT or SAT. If you're going into the military or into some type of a tech career, maybe an ASVAB on there. And then if you're going to community college, their placement tests, whether that's ALEC or the AccuPlacer on there. So you want to do that. And then make sure you have all of your paperwork in order, your transcripts, and make sure with transcripts, if you're taking Scott classes, you have to request those from Scott, so take those on there. And then any certifications or diplomas, if this is your job after your post-secondary training, you want to make sure you have all of those available so that you can have them, so maybe put them in a folder. And then make sure you have a resume. If you're applying for multiple jobs, have a separate resume for every one of those careers on there and tailor it to that career.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I hear from students a lot, Mrs. Johnson, that they don't need to do anything for their careers till senior year, but that sounds like a lot of stuff that you all can be doing throughout your whole 4 years. You don't need to wait till senior year to get started on this.
Exactly. And I think one of the other things that maybe you should be looking at, and this is where your parents can help, they want to help you, and one of the best ways to get them to help is put them on that financial aid search, those scholarships on there. So you're the one that's writing the essays, they're doing all the back leg work for it.
That sounds like a great family fun night, applying for scholarships. Awesome. Well, we have one last sip of information for you. You see what I did there? We want you to know who is around you to help you with all this stuff. So we just talked about parents a little bit, but right here within each one of your schools, you can come find either one of us, Mrs. Johnson at PV or Mrs. Hoyt at Bettendorf. You have all of your teachers around you that are here to help you, especially those career and technical education teachers that are focused on those career topics for your future. You have your counseling staff, your administrators. We use virtual job shadow at Bettendorf. At PV, they use Zello, so you have that right at your fingertips where you can get in and explore careers. So you have a lot of connections and a lot of people right inside your building that are here to help you.
We have Scott representatives too that come in. So Scott is another way. They know the college stuff even better than what we know, so ask them as well.
Yeah, awesome. And then what about outside of our schools, Mrs. Johnson?
So there's just as many sources outside of school. Two actually of the best are the Iowa Works, which has an office in Davenport, and then ONET. It's put on by the Department of Labor. They have every career that we have out there. So that's something that you want to look at. They have more than what's in Zello and Virtual Job Shadow. You can look up career information, salary, how much education that you need. It also has connections for apprenticeships and military on there. So it's a great resource on there. And then of course the jobs. Bettendorf Library just started a job board which has individual help virtually and then also local jobs. And then you also want to take a look at the colleges, at careers. Any of the companies in our area have websites, and on those websites there's going to be a spot that either says careers or jobs, and you want to click on that and you can find a little bit more about the positions they have, what they're called, and what they're asking out of those positions.
Wonderful. That's awesome. All right, so what should you be doing now besides getting involved in all those things Mrs. Johnson talked about? You should be planning for our next coffee and career conversation for sure. So next up, we're going to be discussing financial aid and getting some support in paying for school. And October is also manufacturing month. So those are our two topics. But before we see you again, the financial aid application, the FAFSA, opens up on October 1st.
Exciting.
Yay! So if you're watching this and it's not October 1st yet, get ready to apply. If it's after October 1st, you need to get on and do it because you missed the start date. But it's okay. We're here to help you. Lots of people around to help you figure out how to apply for financial aid. Get on the website, the government website. Make sure that you're not putting in any credit card information. Those are scam websites. You're going right to the .gov website to apply for financial aid. And we're here to help if you need us. So if you have questions about financial aid, or you have questions about Manufacturing Month, which is what we're talking about next month, we will be sending out another survey to all of our students so that they can share questions just like the students did for today. So everything we discussed today came right from the questions that students were asking us about these topics, and we want to make sure that we're getting those answered for you. But let's say that what we discussed today kind of has you thinking of some other questions you personally have. That's perfect. This is just the first conversation to start many other conversations. So please come find us and we can sit down and talk specifically about your future and what that looks like.
Exactly. And go ahead and have these conversations. Maybe show this video and watch it with your family so that you have those conversations at home. Again, parents love to help. They want to help. They don't know sometimes how to help and make it so that it works for you. So talk to them about it, what you're wanting and what you're looking for. So until the next cup, I'm Mrs. Johnson.
And I'm Mrs. Hoyt. We'll see you next time.
Bye.